Well now, come on in and shut that door easy behind you. There's a chill riding the air tonight, the kind that makes the fire talk a little louder than usual. You hear that? That crackling and popping? That ain't just wood burning. That's the evening doing what evening's supposed to do. My name's Silas, and I've been sitting by fires like this one for more years than I care to count. But I'll tell you something I noticed long before the world got fast and loud and bright. Evenings used to feel different, not just quieter, different, like the whole earth let out a long breath, and you were allowed to let yours out too. Back when I was young, out here on this land, evening started with the light, not a switch, not a button. The sun would dip below the tree line yonder, and everything would go amber, then rose, then a deep, soft blue. And your body, without you having to think about it, your body knew. It started slowing down, like a horse coming in from a long ride, knowing the barn is close. We didn't have lamps burning bright all through the night. What we had was candles, maybe one oil lamp if it was a special occasion. That soft, warm, flickering glow, it didn't fight the dark. It just sat in it, easy and gentle. And something about that told your mind, this is resting time now. This ain't working time no more. Folks today get to evening and they're still running, still scrolling, still worrying, still lit up by that little glass screen like it's high noon inside their hands. And then they wonder why sleep don't come easy. It ain't weakness, it's just that nobody told the evening what it was for anymore. Now let me tell you about the supper table. Not just the food on it, but what happened around it. Every evening, without fail, we'd pull our chairs in close, and whatever the day had been, hard or easy, good or bitter, we set it down at the door and we sat together. Eleanor cooked what the season gave us, cornbread and beans more nights than I can count. Salt pork when we had it, but I never once sat down at that table and felt like something was missing, because the food wasn't really the point. The point was that we were all there, same four walls, same fire crackling, same faces looking back at you. I remember one particular evening, harvest just finished, everybody bone tired, but the good kind of tired. Eleanor had made apple pie from the last of the summer apples, the good cornbread with honey drizzled on top. We ate slow that night, didn't rush a single bite. The children kept reaching for more pie, and Eleanor kept letting them, which she didn't always do. But that evening she just smiled and cut another slice, and the whole table felt like a warm hand holding all of us together. I didn't know enough then to call it precious. I know now. After supper came the clearing up. Eleanor'd wash, I'd dry, and we'd talk low so as not to wake the little ones if they had already drifted. Your hands busy, your mind easy, the day winding itself down like a clock running slow. By the time the last dish was set, the evening had already done half the work of resting you. Come winter time, evenings had their own particular feel. Dark came early, sometimes before supper was even done, and the cold outside made the inside feel that much warmer. You'd pull the shutters to, bank the fire up good, and the whole cabin would go golden and close, like the world had shrunk down to just this room, just these people, just this light. I remember one February evening, snow coming down thick outside, wind pushing hard against the shutters. Eleanor had the little ones gathered close to the fire. She was reading to 'em from the Bible, her voice low and steady like the fire itself. The youngest had fallen asleep right there on the floor, cheek pressed to the rug, one little fist still curled like he was holding on to something good. Outside, the world was cold and howling. Inside, it was warm and still. I stood in the doorway and just looked at him for a long moment before I sat down. Didn't want to disturb it. Felt like something holy was happening in that room, and I didn't want to break the spell. Summer evenings were different, more open, more free. The light would linger long past supper, that long gold hour that painters love. You could sit out on the porch and watch the fireflies start up in the tall grass, listen to the whippoorwill calling from somewhere back in the trees, feel the day's heat finally letting go, slow and gentle like a fist unclenching. Neighbors had come by sometimes, unannounced. You'd see a lantern bobbing up the path, and you didn't need warning. You just pulled another chair to the fire and put the kettle on. The Harmon family came over one late October evening, all 5 of them. We sat around this very fire till well past dark. The children fell asleep on the floor like puppies, all tangled together under one quilt. Nobody wanted to leave. And when they finally did, lanterns swinging back down the path, I felt so full I couldn't have named what I was full of. Just life, I reckon. Just life being lived right. There's something else I want to tell you about. The sounds of the evening, the frogs down by the creek starting up their evening song, the wind moving through the corn, rain on a cabin roof. Lord have mercy, there ain't a finer sound in this world. That particular drumming, low and even and patient. You'd lie there and listen and feel yourself sinking down into the bed like the rain was pushing you gentle into sleep. Those sounds had no information in them, nothing you needed to respond to, nothing that required a decision. Your mind could just float, didn't have to grip on to anything. And when a mind lets go like that, sleep comes as easy as breathing. One night, must have been midsummer, A thunderstorm rolled in around midnight. I woke to the sound of it, that deep rolling thunder coming from far off first, then closer, then right overhead, lightning flashing through the gaps in the shutters. Eleanor was already awake, lying still beside me. I said, "You all right?" She said, "I love a good storm, just like that, quiet and sure." And we lay there together listening to that storm do its work, the rain coming down in sheets on the roof, the thunder moving on slow and grand, and I thought to myself, there is nowhere else in the world I would rather be right now. Nowhere. The hour before sleep, back then, that was treated like something worth protecting. Eleanor would read by the last of the candle, scripture sometimes, or a letter from her sister back east, read slow and soft like a prayer. The sound of her voice reading low was like a hand laid gentle on the shoulder of the day, telling it to ease on down now. The children had their stories every evening without fail, quiet ones, stories about animals settling for the night, about the stars going to their places. By the time the story was done, those little ones were halfway gone already, eyes heavy, breathing slow. They didn't fight sleep, because sleep had been invited in gentle, not ambushed at the last minute after an evening full of noise. That's the thing about the way evenings used to work. Sleep wasn't a destination you arrived at sudden. It was a direction you'd been walking toward for hours, every part of the evening leading somewhere. And when you finally lay down, you weren't starting the work of sleeping. You were just arriving, like a traveler who's been walking toward home all day and finally sees the light in the window. There's one evening I carry with me more than most. It was a September evening, late in the season. Harvest was in. The weight of the year had finally lifted. We went out on the porch after supper, Eleanor and me. The air had that particular September feel, still warm enough, but with a cool edge running through it that tells you summer's saying its goodbyes. The sky was something that evening. More stars than usual, seemed like, or maybe we were just paying closer attention. Eleanor leaned against my shoulder, and we didn't say much of anything for a long while. Just watched the sky do what it does, listened to the crickets, felt the night coming on slow and kind. At some point she said, real quiet, "Silas, I think this is what happy feels like." And I thought about that. We hadn't done anything special that day, hadn't gone anywhere, hadn't bought anything or accomplished anything remarkable. We just worked and eaten and sat together under an open sky. And she was right. That was exactly what happy felt like. Not the loud kind, the real kind, the kind that don't need an occasion. I think about that evening when I hear folks say they're searching for happiness like it's a thing you have to go find somewhere far off. Eleanor found it on a porch on an ordinary Tuesday in September, with nothing but time and quiet and a person she loved beside her. That's all it took. That's all it ever took. Tonight, when the sun goes down wherever you are, try something for me. Just sit a few minutes. No screen, no noise. Let your eyes go soft. Let your shoulders drop. And just notice what the evening is trying to tell you. I think you'll be surprised how much it still knows. This is old Silas, signing off from the cabin. Fire still burning low, stars are out. You take care of yourself tonight, friend, and I'll see you next time.